Hello, Khan Academy and world. My name is Shreya Ramesh, and my first video is going to be about physical geography. Now you might be wondering, what's the main idea behind geography? Why does it play such an important part in our everyday lives, even though we don't know that it's always there? For example, if you have to go to school, you need to know the directions to go to your school in order for you to arrive there before you're tardy. And if you need to go to work, you need to know exactly where your office is located. And if you need to go pick up some groceries, you also need to know where all to turn and where exactly your local grocery store is. So this is how geography impacts our everyday lives. Now you might be wondering, what's the main definition of geography in the first place? So if you opened up a regular dictionary, this is the overall definition that you might find. Geography is the science dealing with the aerial differentiation of the Earth's surface as shown in the character, arrangement, and interrelations over the world of such climates as climate, elevation, soil, vegetation, population, land use, industries, or states, and of the unit areas formed by the complex of these individual elements. So basically, it's just saying that geography in the first place is mainly about all of the different things such as climate, landmarks, and other landforms that come together to influence our world in such a way that it makes our world the way that we live it in. So we're going to start now, and I already have maps of North and South America and of Europe, Africa, Asia, and Australia. And I sadly do not have Antarctica, but we are going to assume that it's still there. So first, let's start with labeling the oceans that we have. So we have 4 major oceans: the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Indian Ocean, and the Arctic Ocean. There's also an ocean called the Southern Ocean, but that's not always recognized by a lot of geographical associations. So we're not going to use the Southern Ocean for now. So, as I said before, the Pacific Ocean is located right here. And the Pacific Ocean is the largest ocean. So if you were going to take all of the oceans and label them in order of largest to smallest, the Pacific Ocean would come first. Now we have the Atlantic Ocean. And the Atlantic Ocean is the second largest ocean that we have. And then we have the Indian Ocean. And this is the third largest, or the second smallest. And then we have the Arctic Ocean. And the Arctic Ocean is the fourth largest, or the smallest. So the Pacific Ocean here borders North and South America, and it's also located on the coast of Asia and of Australia because of the fact that the Earth is round. And the Atlantic Ocean borders the North and South America, Africa, and Europe. And the Indian Ocean borders Africa, Asia, and Australia. And the Arctic Ocean borders North America, Europe, and Asia because of Russia. So now we're going to start labeling our mountain ranges. So let's start with North America first. And you might already see that I've already labeled 2 of the major mountain ranges that we have: the Rocky Mountains and the Appalachian Mountains. So if you've ever gone skiing in Colorado, or any other western state if you live in the US, you might already wonder, what mountain range is that? And you would be skiing in the Rocky Mountain ranges. And the fascinating fact about the Rocky Mountains is that they actually start all the way in northern Canada and they continue in a really long chain, and some parts of the Rocky Mountains are even located in Mexico. So that's a really, really long mountain range. And the Rocky Mountains, as you can see, are primarily on the western coast of North America. And the other major important mountain range that we have is the Appalachian Mountains that are located in the eastern part of North America. Now, the Appalachians are much smaller, and they're in both size, in mountain size, and the mountain range size. As you can see, this is only how long the Appalachian Mountains are, but the Rocky Mountains are that long. But the Appalachian Mountains are actually much, much older than the Rocky Mountains. So next we'll move on to South America. In South America, you might have heard of a really famous mountain range, the Andes. Now, the Andes Mountains are actually the longest land mountain range that we have on Earth. And a lot of major rivers in South America actually originate from the Andes because they're such a huge and they're really high in elevation. So, if you look at a picture of Peru or Bolivia, you might see that there are usually mountains always in the picture, especially in the background. And that's usually because that these countries are located in the Andes Mountains. So, let's move on to Europe. Now, Europe doesn't have many major mountain ranges, but it has mountain ranges right here. And these mountain ranges are called the Ural Mountains. And the Ural Mountains are usually the divide between Europe and Asia. And the Ural Mountains are also the major starting point of many major rivers. Next, we'll move on to Africa. Now, Africa doesn't have really many major mountains, but if you look at South Africa, they have some minor mountains right here called the Drakensberg Mountains. But they are not always the tallest mountain peaks. That's because the tallest mountain peaks in Africa are actually volcanic peaks, which are only usually one peak that are found. So now let's move on to Asia. And we have the Himalayas right here, which are in the northern part of India. Now, you might have heard of a really, really famous mountain peak right there called Mount Everest. So this is Mount Everest right here. And Mount Everest is the tallest mountain in the world. And Mount Everest was climbed by Edmund Hillary and Tenzin Norgay sometime in the 1950s, somewhere in 1953, 1954. But they only made an attempt then. And now we have Australia. And in Australia, we have the Great Dividing Range, which runs on the eastern coast of Australia. And we have so many major rivers, notably the Amazon River, which flows through South America and originates in the Andes. And we have the world-famous Nile River, which flows all the way through much of northern Africa in the Sahara. And we also have the Mississippi River right here in the U.S., and the Missouri River, a major tributary, or another river feeding into a river. Then we have the Volga River, which starts around here, and the Danube River. And in India, we have the Ganges River and the Brahmaputra River. And in Australia, we also have the Murray-Darling River, which is right here. So that's all that we have in physical geography. Thank you.